What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is Heart DFS. Today we have another NBA slate breakdown for the two games today. But before I get into it, if you're new to the channel, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the support. Trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the playoffs. You know, we're well on our way. And then make sure to follow me on Twitter, Heart DFS. Putting up my NBA cores, which the past two nights have been great. As you can see, boom, right there. Let's go to 2 nights ago. Obviously, I talked about Brown yesterday. Really liked him. 2 nights ago, you know, we've been in the top 10% or even better past 2 nights when it comes to the core. So make sure to follow me there. Putting up extra NBA prize pick plays as well, which we've done decent with. But yeah, want to look back at my lineup from yesterday. Entered into the 100K to first, 500K shoot around. Got in the top, I think it was like 8%. So 2509 out of about 29,500 entries. I went with Steph, talked about in my video. If you guys haven't watched my breakdown videos, I've been pretty on point when it comes to the cores and who to target. Really like Steph. Told you guys, way too cheap. Obviously he hasn't been scoring the ball the best. He's getting his average 27 points is still a lot, but there's so many shots that he's been missing. They could be hitting into the mid 30s. So talked about him. He's a little bit too low owned. Had a great game. Derek White, 10 times out of 10 times you're going to have to go there. He's only 3,800. He's getting the start. As you can see, he's about 70% owned, which is obviously a good play just because he was great value. I think he missed every shot he took, got in foul trouble, still got you almost 14 fantasy points. So it's just one of those things you had to eat the chalk there and just kind of, run with it. Jaylen Brown, mentioned in my video, he's just way too cheap. I liked getting to him in this matchup. Had an unreal first half and then really cooled off. I think he got like 10, 11 fantasy points in the second half. But obviously a great play. Draymond Green, talked about him. Unfortunately, he missed the whole first quarter due to that nose injury. And obviously missed on his points prop because of that, which sucks. But it's the classic Draymond game. It's going to be like this for the rest of the playoffs. So I hope his price stays at that low because he does have that triple-double upside. Robert Williams, another disappointing game. I'm always going to run it back with him. He's just too cheap. He's a great point per minute guy. It was just a very funky first half of the game where it was pretty much Jaylen Brown running ISO offense or them just throwing a ball to him. So really didn't involve guys like Robert Williams at all. Still was able to get you there at 4,900. Peyton Pritchard, I went with the less chalky route of playing Derek White and Peyton Pritchard in the same lineup. I know some people have done that, or probably did that, but I wanted to get a little different, separate myself. I knew that a few of those Boston guys were definitely the best route to go with. Obviously, Horford had a great game. I talked about him in my video. I should have threw him in there. Felt more confident with Robert Williams, but Horford had a great game. But had Pritchard, he did okay. Obviously, not going to come in and have a ton of usage. Was kind of getting locked up by Javon Carter. But 14 fantasy points at 3,100 is not terrible. Almost 5x. Grayson Allen, terrible, which is unfortunate. The one time I play him, he has his worst game in the playoffs. And then John Morant, mentioned past two games I mentioned how Steph can guard him. Obviously, they had Gary Payton Jr. on him in the first game, and they really tried to have Steph not guard him. Sometimes, Steph gets stuck on him, but no one on the Golden State side can really defend Ja, and that's what I mentioned. Play him, because if he gets stuck on Steph or anyone else, he's going to score. And we've seen the past two games, he's gone off for, I think, back-to-back, 68 fantasy points, 76. Obviously, he's nailing his threes, 36% and 41%. A little unusual for him, 12 of 13 from the free throw line. So he's kind of hitting over his expected mark for both of those, but it's John Morant in the great matchup, fast pace. No one on the other side can really guard him besides kind of Draymond. Even he has a tough time. So talked about him a lot in my videos. Him, Brown, Curry, they all played great, all did well. Only, what was the winning lineup? 320. So not too far off the winning lineup. Winning lineup had Ja, Brown, Tatum, Horford, Williams. So you can see four Celtics players in the starting or the winning lineup. Had Melton, Otto Porter Jr., and Grant Williams, or actually had 5, sorry. Grant Williams, can we talk about him for a second? I dislike him so much. I don't know why, but it just pisses me off that he comes in, he goes like, what was it? Like 6 of 9 from 3. Just everyone gets bailed out. The 18.4% of people that played him at 4K get bailed out by like a ceiling game from him. Just super frustrating, super annoying. I dislike playing him. I will never play him. Don't matter how many threes he hits. It's just, I don't like Grant Williams. He's a great defender, but coming in and just hitting 6 threes is it's extremely annoying. 21 points. Like, come on. Really? Really? But talked about those other guys, how I liked Horford. Even like Tatum, had a decent second half. Really looked like he wasn't going to get there at all. And then kind of, played well in the second half. And I got 53 fantasy points. So, overall decent day with my lineup. And yeah, let's keep the streak going. Where is it? Yep. Won some money. Obviously, it's not huge money, but winning consistently is the key. And so definitely make sure to follow along, hit that subscribe button, and I'll get into today's breakdown. I know that was a little long, but I'd like to talk through those things. Exit these out. 2-game slate for today. As we've seen with the first game of this Philly versus Miami series, there is some blowout risk. It should stay close. The 76ers do have enough firepower, but as we can see, they're not like an overall complete as a team as Miami when Embiid's out. So a little bit of blowout risk to consider. But really like Harden today, 9-6. He was popular yesterday. Just not shooting the ball a ton, which it makes no sense. Like, is it James Harden on the come down? I personally don't think so. I just think he's been very hesitant just to, kind of take over, but they need him. They're going to lose this series if he doesn't take over, if Embiid's not back. So I really like him today as a bounce back. People are going to hop off him. They're going to look at his box score from the first game and, be disappointed. His price came down $200. Really like James Harden today in the tough matchup against Miami. I do think we're going to expect a huge game from him one of these days. I think it's today. So I'm rolling with James Harden in my core for today. I really like Tobias Harris. Price came down $300. Played almost 40 minutes in kind of that blowout. Shot the ball really well. Rebounds, assists, blocks. It's all there for him. 7,700 is kind of expensive, but as I mentioned, him, Harden, and Maxey are all going to have to do very, very well to win these games until Embiid's back. So you're going to want at least one of them, if not 2 of these players. I'm going to go the route of Harden and Maxey, but you guys can go a different route. You guys can throw in Tobias. Do really like him, but Maxey is a little pricey for a guy who has a low floor, as you can see, 21.5 points, but he also has a huge ceiling, 50 plus. They're going to need 2 of these guys to do really well to win this game. I'm betting on Harden and Maxey. Obviously, you can play all 3 of them if you want. Get a little different there. As you saw yesterday, 5 Celtics players worked out. So I don't mind if you play all 3 of them. You really like all 3 of them. Rolling with Maxey and Harden. Who else? Paul Reed. Really like him today. Played 13 minutes. Got you almost 25 fantasy points. Great point per minute guy, but the foul trouble is there. As I mentioned beforehand. He's one of those guys that can't stay out of foul trouble. Like, he's always getting in foul trouble. And if he doesn't, he's going to have those huge fantasy point games. So I'm ready to roll with him. I don't know why they're starting Deandre Jordan. He's terrible. As we saw, Paul Reed was way more productive. So I'm going to keep rolling with Paul Reed. There's that risk of foul trouble, so keep that in mind. But I'm rolling with him. Danny Green, it's one of those things. He'll play 25 to 30 minutes. Not going to shoot the ball a ton, but if he's hitting his threes, he can get you some rebounds, a block or a steal or 2. So he could pay off a salary at 4,400, sneak into the 30 fantasy point range. But I don't think I'm going to get there today. DeAndre Jordan, obviously starting, not playing too many minutes. Just not good anymore. Don't think he'd go there. Niang is a good value. Played 3,700. Played 22 minutes. Went 0-7. Usually he's a decent 3-point shooter, as you can see. So I don't mind getting there at 3,700 for Niang. Not going to be too involved, even if he's hitting his threes in the offense. But he's going to play more of that power forward, small ball center role possibly. So there should be more rebounding opportunities for him. Maybe some more minutes, closer to 25 to 30 if he's hitting his shot. So definitely keep an eye on Niang for some value play today. And I will mention Shake Milton. I played him last game, played 15 minutes, got like an extra 8 minutes at the end because of the blowout. But there will be one game this series where Shake Milton is needed unless Embiid comes back after this game. But either today's game or if Embiid's not back for the next game, I do expect Shake Milton to come off the bench one of these games and have a great scoring game. So he's very, very sneaky tournament dart throw. Shake Milton. I wouldn't suggest going there unless you want to get extremely risky, but I will mention I do believe personally that I think he's going to have a great game. One of these games, they're going to need his scoring off the bench if these guys get off to a slow start, and maybe it's today. We'll see. But on the Miami side, don't mean to bring that up. On the Miami side, we have Jimmy Butler at the top, 9K. Everyone on this Miami side besides Bam had like an okay game. Don't mind getting back to Jimmy, kind of the heart and soul of this team. Bam, as I talked about, great spot against Paul Reed. Or Deandre Jordan went off for 51. Kind of the normal Bam we're used to seeing. So it's nice to see him kind of getting back to his normal self. 40 plus in the past 3 out of 4. Don't mind him at 8K. Same matchup, so looks good today. Tyler Hero, 6,800. Price is a little too high for me. He's kind of become a little bit scoring dependent as of recently. The assists were there last game, but the rebounds are down a little bit. I don't know if I can get 6,800 for Tyler Hero unless you're going for that mid-range build. Then I'd play him, but otherwise I'd stay away from him. Kyle Lowry's still out. So Gabe Vincent is still, playable. Shot the ball 12 times last game in only 30 minutes, which you do like to see. Didn't shoot the ball well. So I do have some interest there. As 4,700 is a good price tag for a guy. We'll probably play 30 plus minutes. Nice to see him getting a little bit more aggressive. So I don't mind getting there. Stru's a little too pricey for me. As you can see, he's averaging about like 25 since the Atlanta series for fantasy points, but 5K, it's just, an okay play. Victor came off the bench, played like 20-ish minutes until the blowout. Don't need to go there. PJ Tucker is, an okay value play. 20 fantasy points, 10 and 7. Probably could have got a little bit more, but obviously the game blew out. So I don't think I'd get to anyone on the Miami side besides, maybe Vincent as one of the point guard options, and then a shot on Jimmy or Bam. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to play anyone on the Miami side today. That could change. We'll have to see. Dallas side, Luka. Still really like him. Obviously, put up 45 real-life points, 75 fantasy points last game. 15 to 30. They're going to need him to, play well to stay in this series and have a chance of winning. So don't mind getting into Luka today. I'm sure he'll be very popular, which, is correct. He should be. Jaylen Brunson shot the ball terribly. Horrible first half. Kind of did a little bit better in the second half, but missed 4 straight, layups. As I always mention with this side, Luka's going to do Luka things, but they're going to need a secondary guy to step up. Otherwise, they're not going to win. Brunson is usually that guy, or he's been that guy, as we've seen since the playoffs. So don't mind getting to him. His price is up there, but he is a little bit scoring dependent. So I don't mind getting in there. You could definitely take a shot on a guy like Dinwiddie. Not playing well at all as of recently. He's had the opportunity, had the minutes. It's just he's not hitting the shot. So I do like, that sneaky dart throw play on Dinwiddie at 5,300. Finney Smith and Bullock are the same play. They're going to be playing 40-plus minutes a game. They're going to get their rebounds. It's just if they hit their shots, obviously they're not too involved in the offense. But they could have those, breakout games where they're hitting 4 or 5 threes, getting 15, 20 points. But I don't think he'd get there. Kleber, Powell, they're going to run them both 25 minutes. Obviously, Kleber had the better game last game. Hit the shots, hit the threes. Powell only saw 16 just because Kleber was playing very well. They're not afraid to run with a hot hand. So if, Powell gets off to a good start with rebounds, pick and roll, they're going to run with him a little bit more. But Kleber is obviously a little bit safer of an option just because he can hit those threes. But I don't mind getting to either one of them. Hoping for Kleber to maybe, not make as many shots. They'll run with Powell. So definitely keep that in mind. Onto the Phoenix side, we have Chris Paul at the top. Once again, not really sure why he's more expensive and why his price came down, but uncharacteristic game from Chris Paul when it comes to assists. 3 assists, Shot the ball very well, 7 of 13, over 50%. Yeah, I don't mind getting to him. I just think Devin Booker at 8,200 is way too cheap to play today. He is a little scoring dependent at times, but as we saw last game, he got off to a great start, 30 fantasy points in the first quarter, and then pretty much did nothing the rest of the game. Kind of went cold, 1 from 5 from 3, not shooting the ball from 3 well the past 2 games, but 8,200 for Devin Booker is just a little too cheap in my opinion. Gonna roll with him in the core for today. Do like Ayton a good amount. I mentioned how I haven't been on the past 2 games. He's done pretty well, but he's not getting those boards, and it's like Dallas is shooting a ton of shots. Ayton's not really getting the rebounds, which I don't understand why. He should be a guy averaging 15 a game. I know there are a ton of guys on the team that are capable of getting rebounds, but a guy who's putting up 22 points, 25 points, you'd love to see that, but only 37 fantasy points, 40, not getting too involved with the blocks or steals per game or the assists. It's just kind of, some points and rebounds. I don't mind it at 7,600, but obviously he's done very well in this matchup. You can continue to roll with him if you want to. Bridges did decent. He's going to be one of those guys who plays. He's kind of like a little bit better version. Well, obviously he's a better player than Dorius Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock. Way better player. But he's kind of in that same role of playing 40 plus minutes. He's not going to shoot the ball a ton unless, the people are shooting bad on the team, then he's going to have to step up more. But he's pretty much in there for his defense, getting blocks, getting steals, getting the rebounds, getting some assists. So I don't mind him at 6K. It's just his upside is very limited when Booker and Paul are both in play, and Ayton. He's kind of like the 4th option. Jay Crowder, as we saw last game, kind of obviously not his ceiling game because he only shot 6 times, but played well. He's always worth a shot at 4,800 just because he does well defensively. He can hit those threes, get you rebounds. So, okay, played 4,800. Don't mind getting back to him. You can always take a shot on Cam Johnson. He kind of had a little bit of an unexpected game when it came to him shooting 60%. Obviously, he's a great 3-point shooter, but he also got you 5 rebounds and assist, 17 points. So kind of seems like his ceiling in the spot coming off the bench, but if you want to go there, take that shot. I don't mind it. 4,600. Campaign came off the bench, played pretty well. He hasn't played like this really at all the playoffs. So it's nice to see him come off in 20 minutes, put up 20 fantasy points. So I don't mind taking a shot on him at 3,400. And then McGee, 3,200. Played 14 minutes, 12 fantasy points. It's just one of those things, maybe DeAndre Ayton gets in foul trouble. I don't see it, but you can always just take that dart throw on McGee. I want to do it or go there on either of these 2 guys, but you always can. I think the route for today is I'm going to go with the Maxey Harden read route on the Philly side, play Booker, and then that leaves you 5,100 left over to fit in some other guys. Let's see if you can fit in another star player. Let's say like Jimmy. Yeah, you could jam in Jimmy. Obviously, it doesn't leave you a ton for the 3 other spots, 3,900. But you can, fit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 4 guys that are, 8K, 7K or above, which is, pretty good. Do you think that mid-range is the best route to go today? Obviously, there's a chance that Luka goes nuclear again in 11-4. It's not too high of a price to get him in there with, 1, maybe 2 other stud players. So I think I'm going to lead towards the mid-range route for today. So if you listened, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. The core has been on fire the past 2 days. The videos have done very well when it comes to, who we've talked to, who's played well, stuff like that. So if you do appreciate these videos, definitely leave a like, subscribe. Appreciate all the support. And I'll have an NBA prize pick video out in a little bit. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Peace.